What's up, y'all? It's yours truly, Mr. Taliaferro. Y'all know I open all my conversations so you guys can chime in as well. So please chime in on this video and give me your opinion and your take. I thought about this long and hard. I've been feeling this way for years now, but like today was the final straw, or over the last 48 hours has been the last straw. I want to say this vividly, out of respect to everything Carmelo has done in the NBA. It is time for Carmelo Anthony to retire. I'm not talking about go play for another team. No, retire. Melo's averaging 13 points a game. You usually don't tell a guy who's averaging 13 points a game to retire. Here's why I believe Carmelo Anthony should retire with his dignity right now. Melo still believes he's a star in this league. And since he can't get that out of his system, he needs to do himself a favor and retire. Reason being is, if he's still got that star mentality and it doesn't leave, he's going to still think it's okay for him to go 1 for 10 from the field, not play defense. Like, LeBron's not playing a lot of defense right now. I got more about LeBron in a second. Here's the thing. LeBron is still giving you 27, 7, and 7 a night. Period. Still probably considered the best, definitely top 2, top 3 in the game right now. The fact that Melo still think it's okay for him to go 1 for 10 from the field, not play defense, like, yo, not be a leader in the locker room, he needs to retire. He needs to retire. We're starting to look at Carmelo Anthony and his legacy, and it's starting to get fractured, and I don't want that to be the case. Allen Iverson, to me, was as culturally relevant to what we got going in hip-hop urban. He was as bigger a legend in that as he was on the court to me. Like, AI is a legend for what he did for the hip-hop, combining hip-hop with the NBA. He's just one of those trendsetters, right? Kobe could never do that. Shaq is close. I'd say Shaq did it more in the mainstream world. AI was in the streets. You know, I've met AI one time. He is who he is. Dude ate McDonald's before every game. That's probably why his career was cut short. Not taking care of his body. But say what you want about AI, he was AI. AI's back end of his career was so bad. You know, going to Denver, it didn't work out in Denver. Remember he played for the Detroit Pistons? That was bad. I'm from Memphis. I was in Memphis when Allen Iverson became a Memphis Grizzlies. He was there for 3 games. That was disgusting. To this day, I still believe, and no one, and the Grizzlies or AI would never admit this, they did that to sell jerseys and season tickets in Memphis. He never had any intention on playing for the Grizzlies. You know? And then he went back to Philly and retired and called it quits. In my opinion, Carmelo Anthony is starting to enter the AI realm. The only reason why I don't think people look at the bad with AI was because he was such a legend on and off the court. Melo ain't legend like AI. Melo's he's legendary. Like he's got his own legend stuff going on, but he ain't the legend that Allen Iverson is. And if I'm Melo, I walk away from this game. I want to be able to look at Carmelo Anthony and remember the Denver days. Maybe the first year or so in New York. He had a really good year in New York, the year J.R. Smith won 6th Man of the Year. I want to remember that year. Because the back end of the Knicks was absolutely atrocious. They're much better now with Melo gone. They're much more competitive. Kevin Knox, some of these, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kristaps, when he gets back, of course, much better team. Kristaps wanted out of New York. Now with Melo out of the fold and Phil Jackson out of the fold, he's talking a long-term deal in New York. Just the reality of the situation. And Porzingis and Melo got along off the court. The Oklahoma City Thunder thing was an absolute fail. Russell Westbrook and Melo, they might got along personally. Their games didn't mesh. Russ's game barely messed with himself some nights. James Harden, I didn't think Houston was as bad as the Thunder. I thought Houston's problems was more about just people in and out of the lineup, not being healthy. Eric Gordon, Chris Paul, and Harden all had been out with injuries, and Chris Paul got suspended. All their top perimeter guys had been hurt or have missed some time this season thus far. I thought it was more about that. I thought Houston was going to figure it out, but reportedly, and we'll get into this more tomorrow about the reason why Melo has been asked to leave the team or why they're not on the same page. I got the story and everything. I personally believe, this is just me talking, the Rockets wanted Melo to play defense and he wasn't going to do it. So now you didn't work out with Russ. You didn't work out with Harden. And one would be like Russ and Harden are not the easiest guys to get along with, but sheesh, they're 2 of our stars in this league. I'm not saying they're the easiest to play with. Harden ain't they bad, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying they're the easiest to play with. But damn, these are our guys in the league. Melo's reps are looking for him to make it to some team. No team wants Carmelo Anthony. What is Melo, like 34 right now? Listen, man, Melo should never get to the point where he's looking for a job, scuffling for a position. You know, when Melo got into the league back in 03, Vince Carter was the best dunker in the NBA. You do realize that Vince Carter is still dunking. Melo can barely dunk at this point in his career. Vince Carter is dunking the ball better than Melo is right now, right? Vince Carter, I think overall game is better than Melo's. He's acclimating to his role much better than Melo is. And Vince Carter can get a job because he's so great in the locker room with the young guys, and because he's such a guy that people want to be around, a legend. You do realize that Vince Carter can still get a job. He can play to 45. He's 40 right now. He can play however much longer he wants to. Can Melo say the same? I know he can't say the same because his reps were looking for him a job today. The Rockets plan on waiving him. I don't want to look at Carmelo Anthony like this. And if this continues, if he's not done with the game, obviously you want him to get it all out of him. I'm going to be honest. He might need to consider going overseas for a year. Go collect that bag. Because you've been about bags your whole career. That's been part of the problem. Melo did everything wrong in his prime. LeBron reached out to Carmelo Anthony when he was still in Denver and LeBron was in Cleveland for the first year. LeBron, this is when he was building his team with Rich Paul and Mav Carter. This is a true story. LeBron reached out to Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. He said, look, this is what I want you to do. I'm telling y'all. LeBron was like, don't take this 5-year extension, take the 3-year extension. Obviously, you could get more money with the 5-year long-term extension. LeBron said, take this 3-year extension. We could all be free agents together. Obviously, all these guys came into the league together. LeBron, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade all signed short-term extensions. And Melo took a 5-year deal. That's been all the difference in his career. Remember, LeBron wanted Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony in Miami, not Chris Bosh originally. Chris Bosh was the backup plan. Remember that. Bron and Bosh wasn't that close off the court before he became in Miami. And they're not close friends now. Right? Bron and Bosh are not close friends. People don't know that. So just remember that. When Melo decided to sign on that dotted line for that long-term deal, because he wanted the quick bag, and I'm not mad at him, everything changed. His free agency year changed. By the way, when he became a free agent, a lot of people said, yo, take your behind to Chicago. He wanted to go to New York. Remember that year Chicago had Jimmy Butler already. They had D Rose, Noah, still known as one of the top 5, top 8 bigs with everything he brought to the game of basketball. They were like, go to Chicago, Melo. Go to Chicago. You played ball there, in high school. Go to Chicago. He wouldn't listen. Or he thought about playing ball in Chicago. He played at Oak Hill. He thought about playing in Chicago at Simeon. He wouldn't listen. I mean, what do you do? Like, he ain't listening. He took bag after bag his entire career. And now look at him. Scuffling for a job. I knew this was going to happen with Melo. You can go look at my tweets 2 or 3 years back. I don't expect you to go back that far. I knew this was going to happen to Melo. And the last thing with Carmelo Anthony, and as fans and media, we need to stop doing this with Melo, because I'm both. Stop comparing this man to LeBron. Remove LeBron James away from the Carmelo Anthony conversation. Act like LeBron never existed. Act like somebody else went #1 that year, right? Remove LeBron from the Carmelo Anthony legacy conversation. You cherish Carmelo Anthony a lot more. I told one of my closest friends that today. We're having that Melo conversation. I said, look, I know it looks bad for Melo. Trust me, I've been calling this for years. But all I'm saying is remove Carmelo Anthony from the situation, and you'll cherish remove LeBron from the situation, and you'll cherish Melo's legacy a lot more. Act like LeBron never existed. No one's supposed to be at tip-top shape in year 16. LeBron is different, bruh. That's why he's an all-timer. The physical shape that he's put his body in. Nothing's wrong with Melo not giving the game of basketball everything he's got in year 16. Look at Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade, he's taking weeks off right now. Dwayne Wade's not playing right now, and he's not hurt. He just took 2 weeks off to be with his new surrogate child. Congrats to him and Gabrielle Union. I don't look at D-Wade differently. He's in year 16. Stop looking at LeBron. He averages 27 and 7 and 7 in year 16 for a reason. He's one of the greatest to ever touch a basketball. Stop comparing yourself to him. He probably would have been more accepting of a backup role if LeBron never existed. Melo, I believe Melo still believes he's as good as LeBron James right now. Right now. And then you got all these people, like guys like D-Wade and LeBron, always gassing him up. And Chris Paul, y'all ain't helping the situation. If you take LeBron away and act like he never existed, you cherish Carmelo Anthony's legacy a lot more. You're not comparing him to LeBron and the rings that LeBron got and how he's been on 2 great teams, and you're not looking at the Miami Heat Big Three. Remove LeBron from the situation, and you'll cherish Carmelo Anthony a lot more. Right now, I think it's in Melo's best interest to retire from the game so he doesn't get the Allen Iverson treatment. He's well on his way. 1 to 2 more teams, and he leaves with that stain, like, because no contender is going to want him. If he couldn't work it out in Houston, the Lakers are not going to want him. They came out today and said, we don't want him. The Celtics, maybe. I doubt it. I doubt it. Maybe the Celtics, though. Maybe the Raptors could use him. I doubt Melo be humbled enough to go to Toronto. So that pretty much leaves teams that ain't contending for a championship. I doubt Philly wants him either. They're not going to bring Jimmy Butler and Melo in. That's, you talk about toxic. You don't have any contenders to go to. I don't see if Melo wants to go. I doubt he wants to go to a bottom feeder. I couldn't imagine Melo playing in my hometown of Memphis. He wouldn't dare go to a market like that. So hopefully Melo looks in the mirror, calls it quits. Maybe go overseas and get that bag for 10, 15 million a year. Then you could grow your brand, your shoe brand over there out the country for a year. Play 20-something, 30-something games. Just call it a career. Nothing's wrong with that, Melo. You're a Hall of Famer first ballot. The more you continue to play, though, the more we start to say, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer or not? Because guys like Jason Kidd, they were great for longer stints of time than Melo is. And when Kidd fell off, he became a really good role player. Melo can't say that. Melo, it's time to call it quits, man. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
I got the kids. You are now tuned in.
Yo, we locked in right now, Mr.
TALIAFERRO'S.
Mr. TALIAFERRO'S.
Mr. TALIAFERRO'S.
Mr. TALIAFERRO'S.
Shout out to Mr. TALIAFERRO's.
You're watching Mr. TALIAFERRO'S TV.
Mr. TALIAFERRO'S TV. Here with the Triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.